The people of Britain, through years of economic stringency, have learnt that export or starve is no catchphrase, but a grim reality. In South Africa, although we are more fortunate, we too are beginning to realize that our exports mean our prosperity. To make a place for ourselves in the world of trade, and in order to buy the necessities for our homes and growing industries from other countries on whose supply we depend, we must export. Endowed by Providence with abundant riches, for which there is an ever-growing demand, South Africa heads her list of exports with gold, diamonds, manganese, chrome, wattlebark, citrus, coal, asbestos, wool and hides. The capacity of the country to produce raw materials and foodstuffs can still be increased, and if we really want to secure a constantly improving standard of living for our people, then these raw materials must be processed into manufactured articles. It stands to reason that South Africa will get more for her wool if it's woven into cloth, more for her diamonds as polished stones, more for her grapes as wines and brandies, for her iron ore as machinery, for her hides and skins if they are tanned, and more for the tanned leather if it's made into boots and shoes. Already Grandmother knew that it was a good idea to preserve fruit when it was abundant and cheap for the rest of the year when it would be scarce and expensive. For many years, canneries supplied the local market as well as exporting a small quantity, which yielded £53,000 by 1938. But 10 years later, the exports of the fruit canning industries reached nearly £3 million. This processed fruit was worth nearly twice as much as all the export grapes, peaches and plums, and all the oranges and grapefruit which South Africa had sent during that same period onto the overseas market. From this increase, the Union sugar industry has benefited too, and factories making tins, cartons and glass containers sell packaging amounting to £1.5 million annually to the fruit-preserving industries. In the western province of the Cape, soft sea winds sweep gently through the mountain passes, carrying with them a tang of salt and sun. These moisture-laden winds and the rich earth of the valleys have made the Cape famous for its fruit and vegetables, and here large canneries have been set up. The rivers and streams which irrigate the land meander lazily through the picturesque countryside, adding their beauty to the checkered symmetry of the farmlands and the stern majesty of the mountains. Around these canneries are small villages, sprung up pleasant places, retaining their air of rural peacefulness and owing their prosperity to the fruit farms around them. The fruit farms, in turn, have gained in prosperity through the canneries to whom they supply the bulk of their crop. When these crops are ready for picking, the pickers, many of whom arrive at the same farm year after year, gather to work quickly and efficiently with the dexterity that comes of years of experience. A sense of urgency pervades the air, and the usually quiet and peaceful farms become the scene of activity and movement. To preserve the natural goodness and the vitamins found in freshly picked fruit, it must be transported to the canneries with all speed. And for the same reason, factories today have to be equipped to handle vast quantities of fruit all arriving at the same time. A matter complicated by the fact that most varieties ripen at the same time in the same area. With all speed, the fruit is unloaded and within a few hours of being picked is inside the factory, ready to be processed. This cannery is equipped on the most modern American lines, using conveyors to carry the fruit on its entire journey through the factory. These are freestone peaches, which are being peeled and cored. They must be handled gently because the delicate flesh bruises so easily. In this particular cannery, this is one of the few operations which have to be done by hand. But the firmer clingstone peaches are halved and cored by machine, a rapid and interesting process. Hey, hold it up, let the people see. The halved peaches are taken by conveyors to a bath where the skin is removed. From there, it's passed on for washing and blanching. When the fruit emerges, it is sorted, and any pieces which are not absolutely perfect are rejected. Then it is graded, and the mechanical processes used in this factory enable thousands of boxes of fruit to be handled daily. The grading ensures that when you open a can of fruit, it is of the quality stated on the label. Then the fruit is taken to the packing section, where it meets the clean, shining empty tins, which are rolled down in their hundreds to be filled. The carefully selected halves are again washed and fitted snugly into place, and the rows of filled tins take another step in their journey through the factory. The checking point is their next destination. Here each tin is carefully examined for correct grading and weight and drained of the last vestige of water before pure filtered cane syrup is added, exactly the same amount to each tin. Moving further down the conveyor belt, they arrive at the preheaters. To show you what goes on inside, we remove the lid. The tins emerge almost at boiling point and are mechanically sealed, a process which takes less than a second per tin. Now they're ready to be steam cooked, and this, depending on the type of fruit, takes anything from a quarter to half an hour. When the fruit is cooked, the tins have to be put into a cooler, where the temperature is reduced so that they can be handled in comfort. And emerging from the cooler, the switchback ride down the S-bends cools them still further. And soon they'll be standing on your grocer's shelves. In the modernly equipped laboratories, samples are taken from every batch of fruit and tested for purity as well as for acid content. And the tins are punctured and the vacuum checked to ensure the keeping qualities. In this way, through rigid inspection, the highest standard of quality is maintained. Can't somebody lend him a fork? Now the time for pear picking has arrived, and in the pear orchards, the luscious fruit is being gathered at the right moment of juicy perfection. Each variety of fruit requires a different machinery for handling, and this machine, our housewife's dream, or is it a nightmare, peels, slices, and removes the core more accurately than hands could ever do. Grapes for jam and dessert. After passing through specially designed graders, are filled into cans and made ready for their journey to the cookers. A separate section of the factory is devoted to jam making. The fruit is first pulped. Then, after sugar has been added and placed in the boilers, which in turn goes into large steam kettles from which emerge a mixture of appetizing smells and boiled to that delicious spread we like on our breakfast toast. Slightly different from grandmother's day. After cooking, the jam is automatically filled into tins. In an adjoining part of the factory, vegetables are canned, and these fresh garden peas, which have been hulled and are now graded, will, after sorting, be treated in the same fashion as the fruit. Back in the rich valley, mealies are being picked. Increasing amounts of the appetizing, sun-ripened corn are being taken by the factory, as sweet corn has become a favorite with most people. The treatment for processing mealies is an interesting one. After husking and sorting and the indispensable wash, they are fed into the de-silking machine, where the whirling brushes remove the silky fibers. Now they are ready to be stripped of their grain, an operation carried out by this machine, which cuts off the corn and shoots out the cob with the rapidity of a machine gun. After salt has been added, the sweet corn is fed into tins, sealed and lifted into enormous steam kettles and cooked gently to succulent tenderness. After cooking and cooling, the processed fruits and vegetables are labeled. No longer a painful, tongue-wearing process, machines effortlessly and unerringly roll the labels round the tins, pasting them firmly down. Each hour, thousands of tins are labelled and made ready to be dispatched. Their factory journey is over. The longer journeys are about to begin. The fruit and vegetables which we saw such a short time ago entering the factory are now ready to leave it, cooked and canned with the glorious warmth of the sun retained in them, ready to travel to the tables of the world. To every town and village of our own country, and to the dock sides of our ports, the fruit is carried. Loaded onto ships, it will travel across oceans, taking with it the breath of our sunshine, the warmth of our days, the richness of our earth. Thus, the produce of our land will spread the name of our country far and wide, a fair rival to California, that other land of sunshine. It will build new markets, adding to the growth of our canning industry and farms, helping in our aim to build up our country. It will bring canned sunshine on foggy days to lands across the sea. This, the produce of our land. Sunshine for export.